If you're a mom of teens and you're finding yourself feeling like you're a complete idiot more often than not, stick around. This video is for you. So I'm coming off of a weekend where I've had the distinct pleasure of watching the latest Jim Gaffigan special, which I think is called The Skinny. And I really enjoy Jim Gaffigan. My husband and I both do. And this one was particularly funny and timely because he, like us, he and his wife are the parent of several teens now. Several of their 5 children are teens. And so a lot of his shtick was about them and what it's like parenting teens. And he reminded me of the conclusion that I have come to many times because parenting teens, unlike any other time in your parenting journey, really is probably the most condemnation producing experience you can have. I mean, these teens will have you thinking that you are a complete idiot and they know everything. And how have you been alive all of this time when the joke is, ma'am, sir, how have you been alive all this time separate from all the things that I do and have put in place to keep you from wrecking your entire life? So it was just funny to watch the special. It was really the second half of the special where he got into what it's like parenting teens, but to be reminded of something I've had to implement often, which is sometimes my children say things to me and they say it in full seriousness. And my response is to laugh. My response used to be flabbergasted. It used to be like, let me explain it to you and break it down because I'm confused that you're confused. I used to do that. And then when they would respond in a way that was like, that's dumb and da-da-da, I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to start laughing. I'm going to start laughing because you mean it seriously, but like how when you tell them things and you have thought it out and you've read your little articles about how to talk to teens and you're trying to approach it thoughtfully and you're trying to speak to them in a way that they're more likely to listen because you're using certain words and phrases and certain body posture and tone of voice because you really want them to hear what you're saying, because you really want them to buy in to what you're saying, because if there's no buy-in, they're not gonna do it, that whole thing. And then you do all of that and then they still, depending on whether it's a full moon or not, whatever, I don't know what it is, but then they come back with their whole, like, that was absurd, you've just wasted my time sort of vibe. Child, I've come to the place where I'm just gonna laugh. I'm just going to laugh because you have blessed me with a joke that you didn't intend to be a joke. But the way it hit my ear, you are saying it in all seriousness, but the way it hit my adult ear, it's hilarious. And I'm going to respond in the way fitting of your statement. It's hilarious. Like he was talking about how that, we embarrass them and, when really they embarrass us. It was just, if you have not seen it, I guess what I'm doing for Jim Gaffigan, even though he has not asked me because we're not friends, but what I'm really doing is suggesting that if you find yourself as the parent of teens and feeling very self-conscious, feeling very distraught, disturbed, and contemplating how you got here, that would just bless you. It would just bless you to see, sort of give you a perspective. Because here's the thing, and it's why you need to have friends who are parents who are like parents, not like who are friends with their kids and they just sort of are all growing up together. I'm talking about parents who are parents and who are going through the phases like you're going through the phases. And, some days I'm going through a thing and my perspective is completely wacky. But then if I talk to my girlfriend who also either currently has teens or just had teens, she's having a good day and she's able to be like, hey, wait a minute. You remember, look at it, step back and look at it long term and look at it big picture and all the things. And then you can like come back to yourself. But if you're just like a Lone Ranger parent and the parent of teens, child, you will find yourself in a ball in the corner of a room rocking, because these people will have you thinking that there's something wrong with you, and you're just grown. You're just grown and you've had life experience, and you're trying to convey that to them in a way that they can benefit from it and make new mistakes. Like, let's not make mine, let's make some new ones, because you've had the benefit of you've had the benefit of my knowledge. But you know, hey, what do I know? So yeah, and you know what it is, what it really is, why you even find yourself in that pickle is because, number one, we are much more aware of the impact of not being a we are much more aware now of the impact of the detriments of that kind of parent that is completely parent centered, to the absolute disregard of their of the child's feelings, of their stage of development, of the impact of words, of, you know, just sort of the parenting in back in the day that was like, this is my world and you're just fitting into it. And as the adults who were those children, we're very sensitive to how traumatic that kind of experience can be. And so we're trying to do this dance where we're not them, but we haven't quite figured out what to be instead. And so now we've come into this whole thing where we're entirely too accommodating of every thought that a child is having. A child, even if they're a teenager, a child is having. As long as you're a dependent, you are a child. And so that, combined with coming into your 40s and your 50s and the inherent insecurities that can come with that, because you're changing in ways that you are not loving, that you cannot predict, that you don't know the end date of, like, where is this all going? What's happening with my body? When is this going to stop? What's the end point of all this? Like, you're going through all of that. You're going through, what am I going to do with the second half of my life? Like, you're having all of that going on, and you're trying to navigate being a different parent than the one you had, because you don't want your child to have as much therapy as you need and probably are not having, but probably should have. And then on top of that, you have the regular evolution of a child where now they're in the teen years and they think they know every daggone thing and they know hardly anything. What they have is language. They have language. They have more language than they ever have, but they don't have the life experience. So they're throwing around words and concepts and demands that they don't have the character or the physical acumen to even carry out or to enforce or to back up. And because you're in flux, I'm in flux, we're actually like doubting ourselves because of what these kids are talking about. And they just have words. They just have words. You also have words. And sometimes you have to just step back. Sometimes you have to laugh. You have to laugh at the absurdity of what's happening right now. It's like a Twilight Zone experience. And you just laugh. Just laugh. Receive it as comic relief. Don't receive it as condemnation. Receive it as comic relief and be like, if this ain't the silliest thing, okay. Don't comment on it. Don't comment. Just receive it as comic relief. Let it amuse you. Let that laughter just waft through the air. Observe their confusion as you're laughing, because they don't know what they said that's funny. It's okay. It's okay. They don't know what you're saying half the time. They don't get it either. That's fine. Laugh. then reflect a little later, and then see what you want to come of that, how you actually want to respond. If it requires a response, how you want to interpret what they said. Is there something of value in what they said that you probably should hold on to and take heed to? Consider how you might want to implement, how you might want to adjust in order to accommodate if it warrants that. But let me tell you, don't just take whatever these children say to you as some sort of gospel, as some sort of, yeah, you're right, I really don't know anything. What? Girl, please. I've come this far by faith and having lived through enough foolishness to learn lessons. And you're not going to talk me out of these lessons as you are entering into your own type of foolishness. No, 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 no. There are things that you have learned. There are things that you have learned, and you learned them the hard way, and you have the stripes and the scars to prove it. Do not let these children talk you out of the wisdom that you have gained. They don't have to understand it. It can be completely absurd to them. I understand why. Don't you understand why? They don't have your perspective. They're not looking at themselves from your perspective. They're not looking at much other than their phone. So they're not looking down the road. They're not looking circumspectly. They're not looking around and looking at all the other factors that come into play. They are looking at their phone, and they're looking in the mirror. That's probably the two things they're looking at. And so when they're looking at you saying all this foolishness because they have words, they have language, you know, a clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day. So it's not that they're never going to say anything that makes sense in their rants and in their, you don't understand it. A broken clock is right twice a day. But don't sit up here and act like they right all the time and have you second guessing yourself. Girl, you have enough going on. You're trying to manage perimenopause, menopause. You're trying to manage keeping a marriage fresh and interesting. You're trying to manage yourself, your mind. You're trying to manage your emotions. You're trying to manage your family. You still got to manage them because they still looking at you, wanting you to take care of them and all the things because, but they're grown, right? But they're still looking at you to help them manage their lives. You got too much going on. And what you don't have time is to take your cues from a child. You don't have time for that. You too busy helping them manage their lives. So when I tell you that I laughed and that thing blessed me, that Jim Gaffigan special blessed me and reminded me of a conclusion that I had come to probably last year. Is you need to laugh more. When these children are saying things to you, you need to chuckle. And it's so funny when you just start laughing and they are miffed because in their mind, they have said something very profound and they don't understand why you don't get it. Hello, I'm there most of the time. I'm saying profound things every day. You don't get it. I just have the perspective to be able to laugh at what you're saying because I know how absurd it is. You don't know how absurd it is, but should you live long enough, and I pray you do, I pray my children do, I pray yours do as well, to live long enough to realize how absurd many of their statements are. But as for you, laugh. Laugh. You got enough going on. Laugh, think about it later, and think about, whether there was a gem in something that they said. But feel free to throw out the bathwater. There's a little baby in there. Keep that baby, but throw out the bathwater, honey. And laugh. It'll bless you. It'll help you stay sane. And as you have to navigate all the other things that are in flux in your life, laughter. Laughter does a body good like medicine. It's true. That verse is true. Anyway, I hope that helps you. I hope that encourages you. I just had to get on here and share because, we're in this together. And with something, when I come across, that's what I like to do. When I come across a strategy, when I come across, usually my strategy is a little more involved than that. But laughter is a strategy. Laughter is an entire strategy. It's good for you. It's good for the soul. And Stop, and don't take things, yes, parenting is serious, but don't take it so seriously all the time. You know, even as an intentional parent, don't think everything is rising and falling on your decisions today, or on your child's perspective of you today, or, you know, just don't. Learn how to laugh. Learn how to not take yourself so seriously and to not take them so seriously. We've got to laugh more. Anyway, when it comes to you being the mother of your children, I remind you this every video because it's important. When it comes to you being the mother of your children, you are the woman for the job, and you're doing a great job. I just thought I'd tell you. Okay, take care.